स्वामी नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्य आदि भाषाते देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत नाथ श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण विष्णु विष्णु हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Okay, for refreshing memory, I'm going to read the verse and the translation again. Tair darshaniya vayavai udara vilasahase kritavamasuttaiः hritatmanah hritatmano hritapranamscha bhaktir anichyatho me gatim manvim prayumte. Upon seeing the charming forms of the Lord, smiling and attractive, and hearing his very pleasing words, the pure devotee almost loses all other consciousness. His senses are freed from other engagements and he becomes absorbed in devotional service. Thus, in spite of his unwillingness, he attains liberation without separate endeavor. Okay. Bhaktirev taan Krita atmanah janam anvim gatim anikshatah prayukte anvim gatim na eshayati na avishashayati anikshayaha prayojikaha bhavati ityarthaha. This bhakti itself, which uh, makes them devoid of the desire for liberation, because it attracts their hearts. It does not generate the desire for liberation. In other words, it becomes a cause for their non-desire for liberation. Uchite. Okay, wait, where am I? Yes. यथा कुर्वन्तं प्रयुङ्क्ते इति कारयति इति अनयोर निच् प्रत्यय वाक्य निज्यन्तयोः तुल्य एव अर्थः. That's a grammatical note. तथा हि न पाचयत्ययम् इति वक्तव्ये स पचन्तं प्रयुङ्क्ते इति वचनप्रयोजकोऽयम् इति च यथा उच्यते. न पाचयत्ययम् should be स पाचयत्ययम्. No, it's correct. When you say that he is not going to cause cooking, then it means that न पाचयति अयम् इति वक्तव्ये स पचन्तं प्रयुङ्क्ते इति पचनप्रयोजकः अयम् इति च यथा उच्यते. He is engaging someone else in cooking. What is this? Why is he saying like this? इति च यथा उच्यते तथा एव भक्तिर्भक्तजनान् अन्वीन् गतिं न एषयति न अभिलाषयति इति वक्तव्ये अन्वीन् गतिम् अनिच्छत प्रयुङ्क्ते इति उक्तम्. The idea is that bhakti is causing them to engage in its own activities without them developing a desire for mukti. Yadva swakarma phala nirdishtam yam yam yonim yajamyaham ityadi ritya dainyena bhakti matra ichhutvadanachatah api anvim prakriti atitattvena durgyeyam parshadatva akhyam gatim prayunkte prapayati iti sandarbha. An alternate meaning is given in the sandarbha, krama sandarbha. The devotee, out of his humility, he prays to the Lord that let me engage in your devotional service in whichever species of life I may be placed in according to my own karmic reactions. I simply want to engage in devotional service to you. So because he has such an attitude, that then Bhakti Devi, uh, she causes this person to attain the fine goal of crossing over Prakriti and attaining the inconceivable status of an associate of the Supreme Lord. Now, he may not desire that also, but nevertheless, that happens. Anvim gatim anichatah janan vilasadibihi kritamanah pranan kurite iti Sri Rupa Goswami charanaha. Sri Rupa Goswami has also remarked on this. He says that the Supreme Lord, through various pastimes, sportive pastimes and so on, he attracts the minds and the life affairs. And in that way, even though they do not desire the great destination of liberation, Bhakti Devi attracts that person, causes that person to engage in bhakti. Anichyatah, ichchahinanapi anvim gatim prayante prapayati iti Sri Swami Charana. The revered Sridhar Swami, he says that even if this person does not have a desire for the finest goal, for the highest goal, still bhakti causes them to attain that. Etad vyakhyanamapi na ati asangatam. This explanation is not also it is not inappropriate, not very inappropriate. Yatha indriyaihi prutak dwaraihi ityatra bhaktanam sarva sukha anubhavasya agre vyakhyasyam manatvat. This is going to be explained in 3.32.33. Tadascha bhakti, because there it will be pointed out that the devotees are going to be described as the ones who will experience all kinds of happiness. Tatascha bhakti ichchahinan apitan balad brahma sukhamapi anubhavayitum muktim prapayya te tu brahma kradam ita magna krishnena cha dhrita itiritya tato nishkramayya bhagavad dhamni tam tat parshadan vidhaya bhajananandaihi sada nimajjayati iti taparya uttara shlokartha avagahanad gyayam iti cha kechitahu. So some authorities explain that even if the person has no desire for Brahma Sukha or the happiness of the experience of the impersonal Brahman, still she forcefully makes them attain liberation in order to experience that. And as it will be stated in 10.28.16, there was a time when Krishna, he immersed his cowherd associates into a lake and he took them out. So like that, Bhakti immerses them in this and then takes them out also out of it. And then in the Lord's abode, makes them his associates and then constantly immerses them in the happiness of devotion service to the Supreme Lord. This is the intended meaning, which should be understood by consulting the later verses in this section of Bhagavatam. Purport: there are three divisions of devotees: first class, second class, and third class. Even the third class devotees are liberated souls. Of course, third class devotees engaged in Uttama are liberated souls. It is explained in this verse that although they do not have knowledge, simply by seeing the beautiful decoration of the deity in the temple, the devotees become absorbed in thought of him and lose all other consciousness. Simply by fixing oneself in Krishna consciousness, engaging the senses in the service of the Lord, one is imperceptibly liberated. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Simply by discharging uncontaminated devotional service as prescribed in the scriptures, one becomes equal to Brahman. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate, full stop. This means that the living entity in his original state is Brahman because he is part and parcel of the Supreme Brahman. But simply because of his forgetfulness of his real nature as an eternal servitor of the Lord, he is overwhelmed and captured by Maya. His forgetfulness of his real constitutional position is Maya. Otherwise, he is eternally Brahman. When one is trained to become conscious of his position, he understands that he is a servitor of the Lord. Brahman refers to a state of self-realization. Even the third-class devotee, who is not advanced in knowledge of the absolute truth, but simply offers obeisances with great devotion, thinks of the Lord, sees the Lord in the temple, and brings forth flowers and fruits to offer to the deity, becomes imperceptibly liberated. Shraddhayan with aha, with great devotion. The devotees offer worshipful respects and paraphernalia to the deity. The deities of Radha and Krishna, Lakshmi and Narayana, and Rama and Sita are very attractive to devotees. So much so that when they see the statue decorated in the temple of the Lord, they become fully absorbed in thought of the Lord. This is actually Darshaniya Vayavaihi Krita Atmanaha Krita Prana. That is the state of liberation. In other words, it is confirmed here that even a third-class devotee is in the transcendental position above those who are trying for liberation by speculation or by other methods. Even great impersonalists like Shukadeva Goswami and the four Kumaras were attracted by the beauty of the deities in the temple. That means they were attracted to the Supreme Lord, who is non-different from the deity in the temple, by the decorations and by the aroma of Tulasi offered to the Lord, and they became devotees. Even though they were in the liberated state, instead of remaining impulseless, they were attracted by the beauty of the Lord and became devotees. Here the word vilasa is very important. Vilasa refers to the activities or pastimes of the Lord. See here, udara vilasaha sekshata vama suktaihi, exalted pastimes. It also refers to activities, smiling, glances, pleasing, delightful words. So that means these devotees, their minds and senses are captivated by the exalted pastimes or activities of the Lord, by his smiling glances, and by his pleasing and delightful words. So now here, Udara Vilasa in this word can also indicate that these devotees, their minds and senses are captivated by engaging in exalted activities related to the Supreme Lord, as well as his smiling glances and pleasing and delightful words. So now, those activities in relation to the Supreme Lord, Prabhupada explains. Vilasa refers to the activities or pastimes of the Lord, can have two meanings. He takes the first meaning. It is a prescribed duty in temple worship that not only should one visit the temple to see the deity nicely decorated, but at the same time, he should hear the recitation of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, or some other Vedic literature, which is regularly recited in the temple. So the idea is that if you take it as activity or pastime, actually this is the meaning of the first. This is the first meaning itself. It's not the second meaning. This is not here. Activity can also refer to devotional service. But Prabhupada is talking about Krishna's pastimes here. The idea is that when we engage in deity worship, even by seeing the deities, that is also service to the deity, one should also hear about the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. How Krishna was engaging in various activities, how he was speaking Bhagavad Gita and so on. It is a system in Vrindavan that in every temple there is a recitation of the Shastras. Even the third-class devotees who have no literary knowledge or no time to read Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita get the opportunity to hear about the pastimes of the Lord. This is the reason why it is there. In this way, their minds may remain always absorbed in the thought of the Lord, his form, his activities, and his transcendental nature. The state of Krishna consciousness is a liberated state. Lord Chaitanya therefore recommended 5 important processes in the discharge of devotional service: to chant the holy names of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. to associate with devotees and serve them as far as possible, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, to see the decorated temple and the deity, and if possible, to live in a place like Vrindavan or Mathura. These five items alone can help a devotee achieve the highest perfectional stage. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita and here in the Srimad Bhagavatam that third class devotees can also imperceptibly achieve liberation is accepted in all Vedic literatures. So this word Vilasa itself is very, very interesting. The Vilasa can also refer to the pleasing activities in relation to the Supreme Lord, which are very exalted. In fact, the activities of devotion service to the Supreme Lord, primarily centered on deity worship, have been very exhaustively presented in Sanatana Goswami's Hari Bhakti Vilasa. Vilas, the pleasing activities of Hari Bhakti. So that is another way we can understand the great pleasure that is derived in devotion service that steals the hearts and the senses of these devotees in service to the Lord. 37. Atho vibhutim mama maya vinastam aishwaryam ashtangam anupravrittam shriyam bhagavatim va smritayanti bhadra parasya me te shnuvate tuloke. Thus, because he is completely absorbed in thought of me, the devotee does not desire even the highest benediction obtainable in the upper planetary systems, including Satyaloka. He does not desire the 8 material perfections obtained from mystic yoga, nor does he desire to be elevated to the kingdom of God. Yet even without desiring them, the devotee enjoys even in this life all the offered benedictions. Kimcha karma jnana yoga adina bhakti avinabhava siddhatvad तत्तद् विनाभूतया अपि भक्तेः तत्तत् फलदायत्वेन यत् कर्मभिर्यत् तपसा इत्यादौ श्रुतत्वात् स्वर्गादीनि अपि वस्तुतः भक्तिरेव फलानि इति शुद्ध भक्तिमन्तः मल्लोकवासिनः एव मद्भजन अनन्तर्भूतान्येव सर्वसुखानि अनुभवन्ति इत्याह. Moreover, because karma, jnana, yoga and other processes in Vedic dharma cannot attain perfection without the presence of Vishnu Bhakti. And on the other hand, Vishnu Bhakti without the presence of karma, jnana, yoga and other processes in Vedic dharma, that can produce those respective benefits which are ascribed to them in the scriptures. Because we know from Bhagavatam 11.20.32, those who are devotees of the Lord, they can attain all the benefits that can be attained through karma, through tapasya, through vairagya, through jnana, through sankhya, through yoga, and so on. So the heavenly planets and so on, they are factually speaking results of engaging in Vishnu Bhakti. Understanding this, because of this, those who are engaged in pure devotion service to me, what Kapila is thinking, they are actually residing in my abode, or they will very soon reside in my abode. So they will experience all happinesses which are not even within the happiness of bhakti, which is far superior to this. These are all considered very, very insignificant benefits. The actual pleasure of Bhagavad Bhakti is far superior. So they should not, the idea is that one should not think that I'll only attain Vishnu Bhakti, that's all. What is that? I'll only attain exclusive devotion service to some Vishnu Tattva form of the Lord. But what about all these other happinesses? No, everything you will experience. Atho, then, vidya nivritti anantarameva, then means after getting rid of avidya, ignorance, spiritual ignorance, maya, what is this? Maya chitam. Wait, let me just quickly check. This is correct. Chitam, Vibhutim, Sarva Brahmanda Sukham. Okay. Why he's got Maya, Chitam? Must be a different reading. Anyway. Mayanaha Tam. Mayanaha Tam. I have Maya Vinaha Tam. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati edition has Atho Vibhutim Mama Mayaya Chitam. Okay, the idea is that anything, all the opulences that can be attained through Maya, which means all the various forms of happiness that can be found in all the Brahmandas. And he has Mayanahatan. We have Maya Vinahatan. He reads another reading. Mayanahatam. In the Bengali edition, I have Mayinahatan. It should be Tam. Tam is the right one. Iti cha pathaha. Animadyashta Yogeshwarya Sukham cha Anupravrittam Bhaktim Anuswateva Praptam. Aishwarya Ashtangam Anupravrittam refers to the 8 material perfections obtained from mystic yoga, which automatically follow Hari Bhakti. Tatha Bhagavatim Shriyam. And then Shriyam Bhagavatim. Vaikunthastham Sarshti Sangyam Sampattim. That refers to attaining the opulences of Vaikuntha. No, Nishchita Chikarat Brahmanandam Cha. And there's a word Cha somewhere. Shriyam Bhagavatim Cha. It looks like in his edition there is Cha. He does not have Va. And from that word Cha, it is understood that they also do not hanker for the happiness of the impersonal Brahman. Madi Hasa Valokadi Hritatma Manah Pranatva, because their selves and minds and life airs have been captivated by Lord Kapila indicates my smiling, my glancing, and so on. Yadyapi tebhyah na sprikhayanti ityartha tathapi parameshwarasya me mama loke vaikunthe ashnuvate prapnuvanti eva iti swavatsalya visheshaha darshita. So even though they don't hanker for any of this, I am the Supreme Lord, and in my abode Vaikuntha, and they attain my abode Vaikuntha. They attain all of these in Vaikuntha, my abode. So this shows the special affection that he has for such devotees. The vibhuti or opulence offered by Maya are of many varieties. We have experience of different varieties of material enjoyment even on this planet. But if one is able to promote himself to higher planets like Chandraloka, the sun, or still higher, Maharloka, Janaloka, and Tapoloka, or even ultimately the highest planet which is inhabited by Brahma and is called Satyaloka, there are immense possibilities for material enjoyment. For example, the duration of life on higher planets is far, far greater than on this planet. It is said that on the moon, the duration of life is such that our 6 months are equal to 1 day. We cannot even imagine the duration of life on the highest planet. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that Brahma's 12 hours are inconceivable even to our mathematicians. These are all descriptions of the external energy of the Lord or Maya. Besides these, there are other opulences which the yogis can achieve by their mystic power. They are also material. A devotee does not aspire for all these material pleasures, although they are available to him simply by wishing. By the grace of the Lord, a devotee can achieve wonderful success simply by willing, but a real devotee does not like that. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught that one should not desire material opulence or material reputation, nor should one try to enjoy material beauty. One should simply aspire to be absorbed in the devotional service of the Lord. even if one does not get liberation, but has to continue the process of birth and death unlimitedly. Actually, however, to one who engages in Krishna consciousness, liberation is already guaranteed. Devotees enjoy all the benefits of the higher planets and the Vaikuntha planets also. It is especially mentioned here, Bhagavatim Bhadram. Bhadram Bhagavatim Shriyam. In the Vaikuntha planets, everything is eternally peaceful. Yet a pure devotee does not even aspire to be promoted there, but still he gets that advantage. He enjoys all the facilities of the material and spiritual worlds, even during the present lifespan. Okay, so we'll stop at that, but there is something here. What is this? Even if one does not get liberation but has to continue the process of birth and death unlimitedly. It is for whom Mahaprabhu is telling. He is telling for those who want to develop pure devotion service to Krishna. Comes in Shikshashtakam. Mama Janmani Janmani Shvare Prabhutat Bhaktira Haitu Tvai. He enjoys all the facilities of the material and spiritual worlds even during the present lifespan. How he enjoys spiritual world in this life. After one attains Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti, even when one comes to the point of pure sadhana bhakti, he begins to experience superior forms of happiness. Comes in Bhaktira Samrita Sindhu. All the wonderful pleasures of the siddhis and so on, all of that follow a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. Okay. Vanchakalpatarvya Shri Pasandukhya Vachapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.